You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to kicking off another week of Mission Log Engage. I'm John.
I'm Norm.
How's it going?
How are you,
Norm?
John?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
It's brisk.
It is brisk. It's chilly where you are, unseasonably chilly where you are. Same where I am, and it is a lovely, leisurely weekend afternoon when we record this. And man, we got some good and provocative thoughts, questions, comments. Can't wait to get into them for the week. There's not a, these can come from anywhere, and they can come from, very recent emails. In fact, one of these that's in the pile for this week came in today.
Okay.
And I thought it was so interesting that, drop that in. Some are quite a bit older, but a couple of these right at the top actually thematically work together. So we're going to kick off your Monday, Tuesday episodes 46 and 47, kind of bookending some comments here.
I actually meant, John, that the email was brisk.
Oh,
right.
well, wait a minute. This first one is actually an iTunes review, which, usually my policy is don't read the reviews.
I try not to.
It's sort of like getting too deep into the weeds in comments. It's a very different thing from emails that are actually getting into a conversation about ideas. Reviews are, it's just a whole other mess.
But I don't know how Broadway stars or actors do it.
I know, right? But hey, that said, go click like, go share, go leave us a positive
Please
review.
do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And if it's negative, send it to Ron. So let's kick things off, shall we?
Okay, so let's do this. The review is from Chris. The title of the review is Often Frustrating.
Done. He's right.
I mean, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
This show, Mission Log, I should point out, this show is usually full of thoughtful and nuanced analysis, but that all goes out the window when the question of a character's faith. Star Trek is always about big things, and Deep Space Nine is about many things itself. One of those things is faith and religion, and what their place is in the world of Star Trek would be. But whenever it comes up, the reaction of John and Norman, parentheses, and Ken before, and parentheses, always seems an exasperated quote, none whatsoever. Why are we still talking about these childish things? End quote. It's really frustrating.
It is frustrating, Chris. Look, it's a negative review, but thank you because you are engaging with us about an idea. And that's what I always want to go for on this show and anything that we talk about in Mission Log. And I feel like it's a little bit unfair because this is one of those topics that is so deep and so personal that we could honestly do a whole hour-long stage panel about this in Vegas or wherever, do multiple podcasts about this one particular thing, and it'll never quite be fair. Because look, Mission Log will never be an encyclopedia of all possible opinions about Star Trek. It will be your host's opinions about Star Trek and kind of picking those apart and hashing those out and then giving it to you, the audience, to then hash out and pick apart. That's kind of the dynamic of the show, So with that said, when we get to particularly a very personal topic like faith and religion and spirituality, you're going to get our opinions on that. And that will always be mired for us and for the listener in everything that you bring to that. Now, when we're talking about faith, religion, and belief in Star Trek in particular, in DS9 in particular, I take exception with the idea that there is something particularly nuanced or thoughtful or inspirational even in any of it. I do agree with the idea that DS9 has spirituality and religion and belief as part of the background texture of the overall story. and we get to spend a lot of time with Bajorans. We get to spend a lot of time thinking about these ideas. But I think at the end of the day, they don't really come down on anything in particular. And they're still operating in the Star Trek universe, which, for better or for worse, when Gene kind of reinvented Star Trek for a Next Generation, he said, hey, look, in our 24th century, um, our characters, Starfleet, Federation, whatever, are not religious.
Mhm.
I don't think that's very realistic, but it was a starting point for the storytelling for him. And I'm glad that a show like DS9 can come along and at least present some people who do have faith and belief, just so you have a contrast in there. So I never, to your point, Chris, here, I absolutely never want to be dismissive of the whole idea. But what I do want to do is try to pick apart what Star Trek is trying to say about this future and who we are when we look at the human characters and look at Starfleet as an expression, or the Federation as an expression of our better ideals. What are they trying to say? Um, and I think we've done an okay job of that. I'm welcome to hearing where we got it wrong, but I don't think this review necessarily says where we got it wrong. What do you think, Norman?
Well, I mean, my issue with the way that they handled religion, at least in Deep Space Nine, was that the writing was inconsistent in order for it to be impactful for the overall story. Are there dramatic elements to the religious aspect of the storytelling? Yes.
Sure.
Dramatic? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are there, I guess, controversial points when it comes to how religion is handled in Deep Space Nine? Yes. But you can actually probably identify those if you have the expertise in Deep Space Nine, and I don't, with a handful of episodes. That does not make a religion consistent nor credible for an analysis, in my opinion, because there are too many inconsistent points and too much inconsistency in the way that it's part of the narrative. Every single time that there needs to be something overtly dramatic or a cliffhanger ending or something that throws the story into chaos, let's add the religion aspect in there. Let's
I think
add the
you
prophets
describe.
in there.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you. I think you described it as a trap door. It's like, we need to raise the dramatic stakes. Cool. Here's the trap door. It's called the prophets or the paw
Right.
race. We need to get out of something. Cool. Here's the trap door. It's called the prophets or the paw race.
And I
Yeah.
think that that's unfortunate, because if you do write these religious narratives consistently and add the texture and the background and the through line, even in B or C plot lines, it creates this tapestry behind the primary story where you can put it to the forefront because you have earned those moments for it to lead the story as opposed to be in the background. So that's really where my issue is with the Bajorans, the prophets, the paw wraiths in Deep Space Nine. I think it's frustrating because it's so inconsistently written.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a big part of it. And hey, again, we will get back to it in tomorrow's episode of Engaged with tomorrow's email. But yeah, Chris, again, whether you choose to continue listening to the show or not, or want to write in or converse with us on something a little deeper here, or have specific thoughts on what you think Star Trek is getting right about these ideas, please let us know. Because I think what we're seeing is, yeah, there are aspects of belief and religion that are out there in the Star Trek universe that didn't get explored before, where we are along in our rewatch of all of these series. But we're going to be critical where we need to be critical too. So, look, let's put a stop to this one so we can get into tomorrow's, because tomorrow's will be interesting too. If you would like to engage with us, send us your comments at missionlog@roddenberry.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at missionlogpod. Be sure you subscribe to this playlist over at youtube.com/roddenberryprod. That is the Mission Log Engage playlist. And remember, we may engage with your comments on the air.